VCY America presents Crosstalk, a nationwide call-in program discussing issues that have an effect on our families, our communities, our churches, our nation, and our world. Crosstalk, an opportunity for you to voice your concerns for biblical principles. And now live by satellite and around the world on the internet at VCYAmerica.org. Here is today's Crosstalk.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to Crosstalk here on the VCY America Network. Jim Schneider with you today. And folks, we're going to do something on Crosstalk that has not been done before on a particular topic. And that is, we're going to focus in on the topic of Islam today. But this is going to be an open forum on Islam, whereby you're going to be able to ask questions you have about Islam. Let me first introduce our guest. It is a well-known friend to us here at VCY, Usama Dakdak. He was born in Egypt, raised in a Christian home, son of a Baptist pastor, became a Christian at the age of 11. But as he went through the Egyptian schools, Islam was a mandatory subject, and so he became schooled in Islam, and then he furthered his knowledge of Islam by studying Islamic law in college. He came to the States in 1992. Several years later, in 2001, he founded the Straight Way of Grace Ministry. He now travels throughout the United States in order to equip the saints to be effective witnesses of Jesus Christ to their Muslim neighbors, as well as ministry to Muslims directly. He's conducted a full comprehensive English translation of the Qur'an and has also recently released a 2-volume set of books entitled Exposing the Truth About the Qur'an, the Revelation of Error. Brother Usama, nice to have you with us today on Crosstalk.
Thanks, Brother Jim. It's my joy to be here with you.
Folks, again, this is an open forum on Crosstalk today on the topic of Islam, and any question you have on Islam, whether it's about witnessing to Muslims, whether it's about Islam's view of sin and salvation, or what is jihad, is Allah the same as the Christian God, or maybe you have questions about Sharia, the tenets of Islamic law, maybe you have a question about Sharia finance or other questions. I'm opening our phone lines right now for you to call and ask your questions on Islam here today. Our number is 1-800-733-9829. 1-800-733-9829. We'll take as many calls as possible, but certainly get online right now. No doubt you have questions pertaining to Islam. Maybe they're trying to open a mosque in your community. You're concerned about the teachings of Islam. You're witnessing to somebody about Islam and have been stumped about some aspect of it. Pick up your phone and call 800-733-9829 here on Crosstalk. Well, to get us started, Usama, today there was a disturbing story that came through the Christian Post. The headline is, Islamic expert warns Christians may be completely disappear from Iraq, Afghanistan, and Egypt. And this is because of the Christian persecution that's taking place. And they are certainly concerned as to the direction things are going, where many Christians are having to flee these countries and head even to another Islamic nation at the present. But as this is going on in these countries right now, this mass exodus, do you believe that Christians here in the United States might be in danger of Christianity being eradicated, whereby the Christian view is no longer accepted, Christians are not welcome, but Islam is going to advance here in the United States?
Brother Jim, that's exactly the problem we're facing today in the Middle East, and that's the problem we're going to face here in America in the future. It's sad that because I know personally some of the Christians who are persecuted in my home country, Egypt, and in Iraq, and in Syria, and these people I know personally. And when they go to the American embassy, try to get visa to escape to America, they may think in Egypt that's a Christian nation. They get rejection from the American embassy. But in the same time, these embassies issue visa, including refugee visa to Muslim in these countries. So Muslim can come from a persecuted Christian countries to America easy, no problem. They will not be rejected. But in the same time, you as a Christian have to prove to them that you are persecuted. You have to show them somebody dead in your family, or somebody have broken head or broken arm. A crack in the head or broken arm. Otherwise, you get rejection. It is unbelievable because we're living in the last days where evil are called good and good is called evil. Islamists can come to America. Muslim can come to America, no problem. Even when they come here, they apply for a refugee status here in America. As we have this case, obviously, in Boston. These are a family who came from a Muslim country who claim to be persecuted. I don't believe Muslims are persecuted in any of them in the world, not just the Muslim countries. Muslims are not persecuted in Saudi Arabia or Egypt or Iran or Iraq or Afghanistan. Why we issue Muslim a refugee status in America, but Christian from the midst of the crisis and the midst of the persecution, we do not give them the visa. I don't know. It's bad. It's really bad.
And let me ask you this, too, here as the phone lines are filling up, and that is, so often we say, well, how can we speak against Islam here in the United States? How can we oppose a mosque from going up? After all, we have freedom of religion here in America, and if we seek to somehow stifle the expansion of Islam, or we say, no, you can't put a mosque here, or no, you can't have these teachings here, then we shoot ourselves in the foot saying, well, if you don't allow that for Islam, you don't allow it for Christianity.
Well, Brother Jim, it's very simple. We need to understand Islam. We need to learn Islam. We need to open the Qur'an and read what is written there. Because Muslims in America, very simply, they're using our freedom of religion to exist in America. But if we open the Qur'an, if we read the word of Allah in the Qur'an and the commands of Muhammad in the Hadith, if we know the real Islam, they are not welcome in America because of our freedom of religion. You see, Muslims in America, when they kill their sons and their daughter for leaving Islam, I'm not talking about killing some Christian neighbor next door, their own family. They do this because that's what is known honor killing. Honor killing in America is known by all liberal media and most American people as a culture saying no. That's Quran chapter 6 verse 151, where Allah clearly taught the Muslim that the blood of the Muslim cannot be shed except in 3 cases: murder, adultery, and apostation. So for a Muslim young man or a Muslim young lady to become a Christian in America, her family are obligated to kill her. And we do not see this to be the truth of Islam. That is Islam. And if that's what Muslims believe, that means there is no freedom in religion in Islam, which means Muslim cannot build a mosque in America. Today, they are killing their sons and daughters for becoming a Christian. Tomorrow, they will kill our children and our grandchildren in America for not accepting Islam, because that's the real teaching of Islam as it is written by Allah's word in the Quran, Muhammad's word in the Hadith, and as it is interpreted by all Muslim scholars, and as it has been practiced for the last 1436 years. I know that Muslims in America try to say that they are loving, they are peaceful, they practicing this what we call taqiyya, propaganda Islam. But this will not last for a long time. For when Muslims in America will have the upper hand, Quran chapter 47 and verse 35, when Allah said, "O you who believe, do not be weak, calling for peace." When you have the upper hand, when Muslims will have the upper hand in America, they will be persecuting Christian and non-Muslim. Anybody, as you see it today happen in Egypt, Iraq, Syria, for the Christian, it will happen here in America. And sadly, when this happens, it will be too late.
Usama Daktak is our guest here today on Crosstalk. We're having an open forum on Islam. We're going right to the phone lines where we have Rochelle calling from Wisconsin. Hi, Rochelle, you're on the air.
Yeah, I have a question. With the Muslim religion rising and everything coming against Christianity and suppressing us and our rights, I have two questions. One, the best way to witness to a Muslim, and two, how to teach your children. You know, I understand what you're saying about we need to understand the Quran, but what's the best way to raise our children and teach them so that when they're faced with Muslims, they can witness to them and they can be on the lookout so they don't get persuaded by the Muslim faith and go down that route, go down the wrong path. What's the best way to teach our children?
Thank you, Rochelle, for the question.
Well, it's very simple. First of all, for us to minister to the Muslim, we have to know so much about, first, our Christian faith, why we believe what we believe. Can you show me from the Bible the Christian doctrines, the Christian belief? Not just because you believe it in your heart and you believe it just as something you grew up into it. How can you be apologetic to teach the truth about Christianity using the scripture? Number two, we must know the truth about Islam. We must know what Allah teaches in the Quran. That the true Islam is not what Muslims say here in the media in the United States of America. The true Islam is the teaching of Allah in the Quran. So we need to read the Quran and study the Quran. Because I guarantee you, my dear sister, there are so many Muslims in America, and I can shoot for 85-90% of the Muslims in America have not read the Quran. They do not know what Allah teaches in the Quran. And it's very simple. When I sit with so many Muslims in this country, and I say, do you know that Allah in the Quran said you should never take a Jew or Christian for a friend? They immediately argue with me, no, that's not true. You're making this up. Then I take them to the Quran, chapter 5, verse 51. And there they read it. Even Arab who live in America, they are coming from a Muslim background. They are Arabs. They can read the Quran in the Arabic language. And they argue with me, no, that's not true. Well, guess what? After we open the Quran and we read what's written in the Quran, then they realize the truth about Islam. Muslims do not know Muhammad, the prophet of Islam. Why Muslims do not believe in Christianity? Because simply Muhammad told them that the Bible has been changed. The Bible has been corrupted. Jesus is not the Son of God. Jesus is not deity. Jesus did not die on the cross, and he never rose from the dead. So now, these were the things Muslims believe about Christianity, and that's why they believe we are infidels. Now, have Muslim ever investigate Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam? Did they know the truth about the messenger of Islam? You see, anybody can pass a message. Anybody can claim to be a prophet. But until you examine this person and see if he is in his right mind, if he's not drunk, if he's not under influence of some drugs, then you say, wait a minute, we cannot take the testimony of this person or that person. Why? Because they are not there. If somebody tell you a story and you know he's standing in front of you and he's drunk, how in the world are you going to believe his story? At least you need somebody who's not drunk and maybe you can listen to him. Now, Muslims need to know the truth about Muhammad. Muslims need to investigate Muhammad. Was Muhammad really a man who lives a life to make him qualified to be even called a prophet or a messenger? Or was he a sinful man? One of the way I do when I minister to Muslims is, I'll take them to the Quran and show them from the Quran that the Bible is the perfect word of God, cannot be changed and will never be corrupted. And we have this in our seminar, Has the Bible Been Corrupted? And then I take them to the Quran, I show them from the Quran cannot be the word of God because it's full of errors, full of contradiction. We cover this in our seminar, Is the Quran infallible? We also have our new book, Exposing the Truth About the Quran. That's 830 some pages, which we really open the Quran. We make the Quran naked. We take all this, Muslim put over their book, the Holy Quran. When you open it and read and study, you find that it is not what Muslims claim. And then we take them back to the Bible and share the truth of the Gospels. There's a reason you do not believe in Christianity, because Muhammad told you so. But Muhammad is not a qualified person to be a prophet. Therefore, we go back to Scripture. Now for your children, it's very simple. We need to teach our children the truth about Islam. I guarantee you, if your kids go to some public schools, and we cover this in our presentation, Lies in the Textbooks, open your textbooks, what your children are studying. Look for the word Islam or the word Muslim in the back of the references in the book, and read what is written there and expose these lies which they teach to your children, and show them the truth that no, Allah is not God, Muhammad is not a prophet, the Quran is not a loving, peaceful religion as they teach you in the textbooks. Jihad is not struggle, but it's a holy war. And how are you going to do that unless you have read the Quran and understand the truth about Islam? So we need to educate ourselves. We need to educate our children about the truth about Islam, and we move on to share the gospel even with our Muslim friends, because they need to know the love of Christ. And if we do not reach out to them, they will never come to know Christ. And they most likely, if not them, their children or their grandchildren in this country will destroy America.
And folks, what Usama is saying here, I just saw from WND.com the other day about this controversial school curriculum management system in Texas. A part of their teaching in the textbooks was teaching that the Boston Tea Party was a terror incident and referenced Islamic terrorists as freedom fighters. So, yeah, the textbooks are there for indoctrination, and it's taken place here on this topic of Islam. Well, we're going to pick up with more of your calls here after the break. Usama Dakdak is our guest today as we have this open forum on Islam. Our number 800-733-9829. You're listening to Crosstalk on the VCY America Network.
Back to Genesis with Dr. John Morris, creation researcher at the Institute for Creation Research. Dr. Morris, what do you make of the legends of fire-breathing dragons?
Chris, there may be more truth than fiction to this legend. In Job chapter 41, God himself talks to Job and describes a beast called Leviathan, which he said was actually able to breathe fire. Now, I don't know how an animal could breathe fire, but it probably involved a chemical reaction with oxygen in the air. The Bible also mentions a flying fiery serpent. This was a real beast that Isaiah knew about. There must be something that could fit this description. The legends of fire-breathing dragons would be the faded memories of human encounters with beasts like this. Even yet, there are unconfirmed rumors of flying reptiles that give off an eerie luminescence. Chris, there's so much we still don't know about dinosaurs, but only by starting back in Genesis can we hope to get our thinking right.
Thanks for joining us for Back to Genesis.
listening to Crosstalk on the VCY America Network. Usama Dakdak is our guest here today as he represents the ministry, the Straight Way of Grace ministry, that certainly is warning about Islam and also equipping the saints regarding the truth about Islam. He is a speaker on the daily radio program Revealing the Truth About Islam that is heard daily here through the VCY American Network. And by the way, his English translation, an accurate English translation of the Quran he has done, it includes, it's not just the Quran, but there's the errors and contradictions of the Quran, the comparison with biblical accounts, the talk of Bible prophecies about Jesus. A gospel invitation is given in this. It's a helpful resource. You can get more information through his website, thestraightway.org. That's thestraightway.org. Let's go back to the phone lines. Reg, you've been holding in Portage the longest. Thanks for calling. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you, Jim and Usama. A quick question. The two major groups within the Muslim community are Shiites and Sunnis. Where does Al-Qaeda fit in?
That's a very good question. Here is a fact. When you hear the media talking about these Muslim and those Muslim and the Shia are not bad and the Sunni are not bad, reality is you saw Iran helping the Sunni of Egypt. Iran are Shiites, and they were helping the Sunni of Egypt to get rid of Mubarak. And now you see Iran killing the Egyptian in Syria. You see the chaos here? There's no such a thing as these Al-Qaeda belong to the Sunni and the Brotherhood belong to the Shia. No. It's a chaos. It is the mentality of Islam. Me and my brother are against our cousins. And me and my cousins are against our enemy. So there's, and you hear, by the way, you understand that Shia are only 15% of the Muslims. And you know the Sunni are a good 70%. And then we have Ahmadi and we have many cults within Islam, even Nation of Islam here in America, 4 million plus who are not Muslims, are cult from within the cult of Islam. So there is not such a thing as Sunni are good and Shia are less jihadists, or Shia are good and Sunni. These are lies. If you talk to a Sunni, they will tell you, oh, the Shia are the bad ones. And if you talk to the Shia, they will tell you, oh, the Sunni are the bad one. And if you talk to the Shia, oh, the Wahhabis, the Saudis, the rich people are the bad one. No. The bad is Islam. It is not the Muslims. These Muslims, all these Muslims which you see all over the world, if they are Ahmadi in India, or if they are Nation of Islam in America, or if they are Shia of Iran, or if they are Sunni of Saudi Arabia, they're all are victim of Islam. The problem in the teaching of Allah's word in the Quran is not on the different denomination among Islam. And they all hate us, and they all want us dead.
Thank you for the call. Good question. Let's go next to Minnesota. Bert, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes, I guess I've been curious for a long time about the Muslim want to conquer the world, and it always seems to me that the invasion is westward pointed. Do they not also want to conquer towards the east, towards the Far East?
Well, here is a fact, my dear brother. Muslims are already all over the world. They are in China. They are in Russia. The military, the army of Russia in the year 2020 will have 40% Muslims. They are here in America, they are in South America, they are in Canada, they are in Australia. Their goal is to take over the entire planet Earth, as Allah commands them in the Quran. If you go to Quran chapter 33, verse 26 and 27, you see that Allah said, and a land you had never set foot on. So Allah is telling the Muslims that He terrorized the Jews and the Christians, and then He caused them to kill some of them and take some as captive. That's chapter 33, verse 26, verse 27. And He make you to inherit their homes and their land and their money. And then a very important statement, and a land which you had never set foot on. So the goal of Muslims is to take every piece of land in America. And the war against Islam will not end until literally Islam will take over the whole world supremely. So when you hear some of our politicians say the war is over, no, the war is just begun.
Thanks for the call from Minnesota. Next to the state of Ohio, Ahmed, go ahead, you're on the air.
Hey, I just skipped this. My question is, actually it's not it's a comment. I mean, what makes you to be actually the authority to talk about Islam when you don't even have someone to actually argue for Islam? I mean, what kind of conference you guys have? Number one, when you're trying to actually, instill people that we hate everybody, I totally disagree with you. And when the verses you're talking about, Allah lam tata'uha, you speak Arabic, I'm sure. It does not mean that actually you go take over every country and do that. I mean, Islam is actually defending itself. But my question was, what makes you to lead the authority to talk about Islam when there's no other chair on the other side of you to argue for Islam? I mean, you can have this open forum, call somebody a scholar about Islam, and then you guys can argue about that. Because I have seen many debates of Ahmadiyya with other, Christian debaters.
Well, Ahmed
that's you love that.
Yeah, Ahmed.
I was talking about it you're instilling hatred. I live in Africa. I'm an African, and I live in America for 10 years, and I have no hatred for any person because of his religion. And I've never had that. I was never taught that. So what you're instilling is completely incorrect in other people, and you're actually asking people to hate each other, which is incorrect also.
Okay,
that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Brother Ahmed. If you are a Muslim, if you can read the Quran in Arabic, that the Quran is not open for options of translation or interpretation in the Arabic language. The word is there. When I read the Quran, my dear brother, I don't interpret it for you. I read your great Muslim scholars' interpretation. So I go to Ibn Kathir, I go to Tabari, I go to Qurtubi, and go to Jalalain. And if I'm reading your 4 top Muslim scholars, that make me greater than all of them. Even some of them disagree with another. I will read you all of their interpretation to your book. So I am a scholar. As a matter of fact, if you read my new book, Exposing the Truth About the Quran, I called your scholar, Ibn Kathir, dumber. You know why I call him dumber? Because he's dumb. So your scholar whom you build all your hope and your dream and your vision, that through them you will come to know the facts and the truth about Islam, they are dumber. They are trying to fix your Quran, which is full of error, by fabricating answer for it. As for the debate, Ahmed, if you want to put somebody to debate me, there is not somebody in planet Earth is qualified to understand the Quran better than your scholars, and I call them dumbers. So, and I'm willing to debate anybody. We have tried many times to debate any of your people on TV stations. They refuse to show up simply because they say, I insult Muhammad. Let me tell you something, Ahmed. When you tell me in America that all Christians are infidels and you must kill them by the edge of the sword, as your Muhammad did for all these years, as your followers of Islam has been practiced all these years, that make you illegal to live in this country. And you want to sit across the table from me on a stadium? Go read your Quran, Ahmed. Go understand your Islam. Islam is the most barbaric cult. Not because I said so, because your Allah said so. When your Allah, in Quran chapter 5, verse 72, said to the Muslim that all Christians are infidels because simply they believe Jesus Christ is God. When your Allah in the Quran tells the Muslims in chapter 5, verse 73, that all Christians are infidels simply because they believe in Father, Son, Holy Spirit, the Trinity. When your Allah in the Quran tells the Muslim to behead all Christians, as it is written in Quran chapter 47, verse 4, simply because they are infidels, they are being called infidel by your Allah and your Muhammad, that make you illegal to live or to breathe air in America. And you want to sit across the table for me to debate me? Go read your Quran, Ahmed. Understand your Quran by your scholars. I am much smarter than all your foolish scholars. Thanks for your call.
Okay.
Thanks for your call.
Can I conclude?
No, I don't have anything to share with you anymore. Go read your Quran. See, if you are a Muslim American, I'll let you go back and forth with me. But you're an Arab, and you're acting with the same deception of your Allah, the best deceiver, with the same deception of your Muhammad. Shame on you, Ahmed, who know Arabic, and you know I'm not reading my own interpretation. I'm reading your scholars' books, sir. And you're telling me that I'm not presenting Islam right? We Christians do not lie like your Muhammad taught you to lie. See, let me tell you what Muhammad said in Musnad Ahmed. It is lawful for a Muslim to lie in 3 cases: for their wives, and for their enemies, and for their friend, to make peace among them. Can you imagine this prophet of yours, Muhammad, the child molester, the sex offender, the prophet pretender, the womanizer, the liar, the adulterer? Read your Quran, Ahmed. Go read your Quran. Learn Islam before you come to debate me. Thanks for your call.
To Charles in Nebraska. You're on the air, Charles.
I have a brother that is married to an American.
I'm sorry, Charles, your call is breaking up here quite severely.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I have a brother that's married to a gal that has 2 kids, and the husband is Muslim. She's Lutheran, and so is he. But the dad gets quite often, and it seems like when they go over there, he has them, pray to the east and do the Muslim prayer. And I know it really bothers my brother, but it scares him to say a whole lot because, he would hate to have them take off with the kids or irritate people. How worried should he be about those kids praying like that?
Well, my friend, if I know somebody who is married to a Muslim man, I will never let them leave this country. Because if he play his game and he can keep them in, he can literally keep his children in their own home country. See, in America here, we think Muslims think like us, live like us, but they don't. Our females in the Muslim world have no value, have no voice, they're not equal to anything. So I know hundreds of cases where American lady married to a Muslim guy, and he found that he cannot convince her to Islam, he cannot convince her to move all the way with Islam. And then he make a trip overseas. And after he gets there to visit with his family, then he asks her to hit the road without her children. And this is not just a movie, not without my daughter. This is thousands of cases all over this country. Our intelligence in this country, the FBI and CIA know that, but they will never warn the American people about it because simply they don't want to offend the Muslim, and they don't want some guy like Mr. Ahmed who called before you upset about the love and peace of Islam. So I will advise him not to go overseas, and I'll advise her to read the Qur'an, to learn Islam, because there is a chance for her to lead him to Christ if she will put her act right and she give her heart to Jesus. The problem is she is not a believer. That's why she married this Muslim guy. Now, if she got saved, she maybe can reach out to him and lead him to Christ, and that's my ultimate goal for sure.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Charles. But you would have a problem, Usama, with their children going there and praying these prayers to Allah?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. We need to make sure our children in America, because don't forget now, these Muslim men, when they marry our Christian ladies, they told them, when the children grow up, they can be whatever they want. They can choose to become Christian, to become Muslim. And they thought, by the way, I don't practice Islam. But behold, after the baby is born, 5 minutes, his name is Muhammad, or her name is Fatma. So they give them Muslim names. And as the children grow, they take them to the mosque. And they lie. They are deceiving you, young ladies in America. Muslim men who fall in love with you, they fall in love with you because simply they need the citizenship. You are the only gate they can use to get over into this country and take over this country. And I never saw a case yet where the children grew up to be a Christian after married a Muslim daddy, unless he's nuts.
Usama Dakdak is our guest. We're just seconds from the break, so we're going to pick up our next call immediately after the break. He has done an accurate English translation of the Quran, and it is available through his website, thestraightway.org, thestraightway.org. And a matter of fact, when he's saying read the Quran, his Quran that he has put together here will give that accurate English translation, but also points out the errors and the contradictions so that he puts them right there before you so that you can see those contradictions and errors and certainly see the true biblical account as well. Usama Dakdak is our guest. It's an open forum on Islam today. We'll be back in just 1 minute.
The New England Primer was introduced in Boston in 1690 by Benjamin Harris. It was the first textbook printed in America. For a century after its introduction, it was the beginning textbook for students, and until well into the 20th century, it continued to be a principal text in all types of American schools. The founders, as well as millions of other Americans, learned to read from the New England Primer and the Bible. The core of the Primer is its rhyming alphabet, such as for letter A, in Adam's fall we sinned all. It also included lessons for youth, Bible questions, and a shorter catechism. To obtain a pocket-sized hardcover edition of this 1770 historical reprint, send a donation of $8 or more to VCY America, 3434 West Kilbourne Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin 53208. Simply ask for the New England Primer. To make your donation by phone, call 1-800-729-9829. That's 1-800-729-9829.
Our guest today on Crosstalk, Usama Dakdak, born and raised in Egypt and certainly schooled in Islam. He studied Islamic law. He has came to know Christ as Savior as son of a Baptist pastor and founded the Straight Way of Grace Ministry. You can check out their website, thestraightway.org, thestraightway.org. You'll find a number of resources there, videos and helps. Usama, by the way, is available and goes out speaking in churches across the country and in public forums. Different groups that will have him in, and you can contact him through the website there as well, thestraightway.org, about coming and speaking in your area. He's got multiple presentations to reveal the truth about Islam. Let's go next to the state of Pennsylvania, Cranesville, Pennsylvania. David, thank you for calling. You're on the air with Usama Dakdak.
Hi, there seems to be another sect of Islam creeping up here in America. It's called Chrislam, and I wonder if you know anything about that.
Okay, what about Chrislam, Usama?
Well, that's a problem of the liberal churches all over this country. Those who will refuse to have somebody like me to teach the truth about Islam. And instead of accepting our invitation as we invite ourselves to welcome us to tell the truth about Islam to their people, they bring Muslims. And Muslim, as naturally in their existence, are deceiver. So they go to these churches and speak about their love for Jesus, their love for Virgin Mary, and their love for Christianity, and their love for gay and lesbian, and their love for the Jews, their love for those who worship cows in America. Literally, they love everybody. And
peaceful.
Very peaceful. And let's all get together and let's all hold hands. And they will go in these churches and they will marry the American ladies. But in the same time, you cannot marry their sisters if you are not a Muslim. And they're taking over our country with their, like you said, they're creeping in. They're slowly moving in inside the church. For Muslim agenda is not only to take this country politically, but even from the church. And I challenge these Muslims. Many times I go to these meetings, my dear brother, and I attend them because if I'm not speaking and I'm in town and they have one of these meetings, they will never allow you to record their teaching on video or even sound. They will not allow you to take notes like from what they're teaching. Why is he doing that? Because they know they're lying. And if I can get their material, I will expose it on our radio broadcast, and we'll expose it on our video as well on YouTube.
So there are churches that want to bring Muslims in to dialogue, to talk, to come together, and we see this formation of this Chrislam taking place. Let's all get together.
It's Christian and Muslim in specific. The other one is coexist, or the other one is interface. Interface, now you have all of them. But Chrislam is Christian, Muslim get together. And I'm sorry to say, the Christians in these groups are not Christian. Mm-hmm. So, brothers and sisters, they are not born-again Christians. They are what I call wolf in sheep skin. Yeah, they talk like a church. They have crosses in their building, but they know nothing about the cross or the Savior who died on the cross.
Thank you, David.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Appreciate your call.
Thank you, brother.
Let's go to Hurley, Mississippi. Mary, you're on the air.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Crosstalk for bringing on these gentlemen who are exposing Islam for what it is and what it's doing to America. I'm in the process now of reading one of Walter Shabbat's books, and I intend to get this gentleman's book, too, because if we don't become aware of what's going on, we're just going to throw up our arms and surrender to them. And I just thank you. I really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Mary, for your call here today.
Appreciate you, sister. Keep us in your prayer, please. Thank you.
Yes, we will. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. He not only has he done the English translation of the Quran, but also the new 2-volume set, Exposing the Truth About the Quran, The Revelation of Error. Okay, let's see, our number 800-733-9829. Let's go to Elmhurst, Illinois, and John, you're on the air.
Hi, Usama, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Let me ask you, are you familiar with a statement by Ahmadinejad basically saying that they have no problem with homosexuality in their country? Because
yeah, Iranians do not have any problem with homosexual because there is no homosexual there. If they find any, they kill them. Muhammad is very clear. Muhammad teaching about this topic is very clear. Kill the man who does it and kill the man who do it to the other person. Kill both partners. They have to be killed. That's very clear teaching. Yes, brother.
Right. So what I want to say is the biggest threat to, our society is the breakdown of Western civilization. Whereas, what's a bigger threat? It's the people running around professing to have a salvation in Jesus Christ that they don't actually possess? Or is it, the radical Islam? Because, even looking at 9/11, okay, there's only 3 plausible theories for 9/11. Either it was a surprise attack, or the government let it happen, or the government made it happen. And that's what we need to get to. A lot of Christians are just going to have to review the evidence that the architects, engineers, firefighters, and pilots have put forth, saying the story is still in question.
John, let's get back to the topic of Islam here today, if you would.
Brother, let me explain something to you. 30 years ago, when I was in Egypt, what happened in September 11 had been taught to us, that the day is coming, we're going to destroy America from within. As a matter of fact, this is the written word of Allah in the Quran, when Allah said that He will cause this to happen, that the Muslim will take over the world by the edge of the sword, or by an airplane to a building, or by a bomb in a square. This technique has been known by Muslims for the last 1,436 years. I don't believe in your theory, and I'm not going to get into it as well. Thank you so much.
Let's go next to the state of Minnesota. And Pete, you're on the air. Hello, Pete.
Hello.
You're on the air.
Usama, thank you for being there, and thank you for what you do.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
I have a copy of your Qur'an, and what a work you did there.
Thank you, brother.
I want to ask you a question. Allah of the Qur'an seems to have the same description as Satan of the Bible. You expound on that.
Absolutely. Very simple. If you go to the Quran, chapter 1, verse 1, Muslim pray, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the world. As you read throughout the pages of the Quran, Allah is known to be the God of the world. Now, if you open the Bible, if you have just a little bit familiarity with the Bible, the God of this world, the Lord of this world, is Satan. If you go to the Quran and read 385, for example, Allah said they deceive and Allah deceive, and Allah is the best deceiver. I'm sorry. The only deceiver I know of in the Bible is Satan. Allah in the Quran desire to fill hell with people. As a matter of fact, Muhammad told the Muslim that Christians and Jews are the fuel of hell. Allah in the Quran lead people astray. And I can go on and on with the half of the 99 names, attributes of Allah in the Quran. They do not fit anybody but the Satan of the Bible. Muslim worship Satan. For Allah in the Quran to deny the deity of Christ, for Allah in the Quran to deny the death and the resurrection of Christ, that is a great evidence that Allah is Satan, because Satan does not want not Muslims, not anyone to believe in the truth of the gospel. Thanks for your call, brother.
Thank you, Pete. To Dorothy in Illinois, you're on the air.
Yes, we're not supposed to establish a religion, and that's what they're doing. And also, to stop them, when anyone at all from any part of the world comes to America, you have to live under the American law. And they've brought their Sharia law in, and as someone, I guess the Muslims on all these boards and things that we don't realize have voted in to accept Sharia law in this country. But that gives them the right to use their law in this country, and that should not be. If you live in America, you adopt yourself to the American law. I came here from England, and when I was naturalized, you even had to speak English very fluently and know the government and everything more than the Americans did in order to become a citizen of this country.
Thank you, Dorothy. And yet, Usama, we are seeing the introduction of Sharia take place.
It's just last week, Brother Jim, in Florida, the Democrat gives the green light for the Muslim to go ahead with their Sharia in Florida, my home state. Ahmed Badir is the leader of the movement of Muslim taking over Florida. He's been doing this for 8-9 years. Who used to be the leader of CARE, who is actually now changing. He have a new organization like All America. This is just propaganda names he gave for himself. He was in Egypt. We have videos and picture of him in Egypt in the riots there, in the Arab movement, standing with the jihadists in Egypt, the Brotherhood of Egypt. He's a supporter of Hamas. And even though our FBI and CIA, our intelligence in Florida knows that, they still open the capital of Florida, Tallahassee, for him one day every year for a Muslim day in the capital. I'm getting sick and tired from our legislator in the state of Florida.
Thanks for raising that issue, Dorothy. To Fred in Wisconsin, you're on the air.
Yes, thank you. I'm wondering why they don't pick you up as a Muslim commentator on all the mainline TV and radio shows. And then when is the rally going to be on that was in Waukesha? Thank you.
That's on tonight, 9 p.m.
Okay.
Well, brother, they will not have somebody like me because I looked in my dictionary last time, was just like 5 minutes ago, and I did not see the word political correctness. So obviously I don't fit.
You're not invited.
No, I'm not invited. Yes, indeed.
To Brad in West Dallas, you're on the air.
Hi. When I was talking to a call screener. He indicated that one of those callers was talking about Satan and Allah being the same being, and I also believe that too, because the deceiver, the afflicter, the god of this age, that all goes hand in hand with what the Bible calls Satan,
Mm-hmm.
And the one who leads astray and all that. But I tell people this stuff, and they think I'm nuts, and they say, "Oh, where's your evidence?" So I tell them, I show them. They still don't believe it. They don't want to believe it, and I'm just wondering, is there something else in the Quran or the Hadith that particularly identifies Allah as a name that the Bible calls Satan, particularly? You know what I'm saying?
Brother, I think we covered some of them already, but the entire Quran teachings go against the teaching of the Bible. The 10 Commandments in the Bible is very simple. You love God. You don't have this in Islam. You not lie. You don't have this in Islam, but you must lie. When the Bible said, "Thou shalt not commit adultery," Jesus said you should not look at a woman and lust with your eyes. Muhammad commanding the Muslim to kill the Christian men so they can rape their wives and their daughter. When the Bible said, "Thou shalt not steal," Muhammad said it's lawful and good as long as you give 20% to Muhammad, which is the zakat in Muhammad days, 20% of the spoil, as written in the Quran. So everything about the truth about God in the Bible is taught, the commandment in the Quran, to be the opposite. So it's a logic thing that Islam is the work of Satan, is the work of the devil. That's the end of it. And if American people will not read the Quran, they will not get it. And I'm sorry to tell you that many Americans have eyes, they can't see. They have ears, they cannot hear, and they have a heart, and they don't understand. I think God, the God of this world, the small g, Satan, has blinded them, that they cannot see, hear, or understand. And I don't know what to tell you. How can we help the American people to realize the truth about Islam, but to expose Islam for all the lies which Muslims teach in the West?
So it's mostly just a matter of the continuum of what the Quran and the Hadith teach, which is opposite of what the Bible says.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, brother.
Let's go to Boise, Idaho. And Janie, you're on the air.
Oh, hello. I'm sorry, I was carrying on the conversation. It's about the Magdri Cristiano Alum, who was baptized by Pope Benedict in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And he has come out leaving the church because Francis, the new Pope, wants to, what he considers have more open dialogue with Islam. And I was wondering if you could give any insight into that.
Thanks for the call here, Jeannie.
The problem, my dear sister, with the open dialogue or bridges between Muslim and Christian, it only go one way. You see, these meetings, if you go attend this dialogue, there is no such a thing as dialogue between darkness and light. If you go to your house right now, go to inside room and turn the light on, it will not be dark. Turn the light off, it will be dark. You cannot mix light and darkness in one room. So I don't believe in a Christian-Muslim dialogue. I believe in a Christian-Muslim debate. Because if Christianity is true, Islam is 100% false. And if Islam is true, Christianity is 100% false. They can be both false. But there is no way you can have them both right. And in this dialogue, what Muslims are doing is, they're trying to emphasize to the Americans that Islam is okay, Christianity is okay, and that's not going to work. That's going to end for the good of the Muslim, not for Christ.
Thanks for your call. We're going to take a quick break and come back to more of your questions and an open forum on Islam today on Crosstalk. Our guest, Usama Daktak. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
For the Worldview Weekend Minute, I'm Brandon House. Our website's worldviewweekend.com. We're continuing our series on a biblical worldview and money, 20 points, and we're on point number 10 today, which is, it is God's grace that allows us to obtain wealth. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 17 and verse 28 speaks to this. 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7 speaks to this. It is by God's grace that we even have the ability to earn a living. Whatever skills you have, it's by God's grace that you have them. Every good and perfect gift comes from the Father above. If you have the ability to work with numbers as an accountant, that's by God's grace. If you have the ability to get up every day and physically go do a job, that's by God's grace. The ability to even take another breath is by God's grace. So we need to understand that it's by God's grace that we're even allowed to obtain wealth. For more information on having a biblical worldview when it comes to money, you'll find some great articles on our website at worldviewweekend.com, worldviewweekend.com.
You're listening to Crosstalk here on the VCY America Network. Usama Daktak is with us from the Straightway of Grace Ministry. Their website is thestraightway.org, and those without internet access, you can also contact their ministry for materials at area code 941-223-1703. And request materials and information about their ministry, or if you'd like to have Usama come and speak to your church, a series of meetings to really help enlighten people as to the truth about Islam. Going back to the phone lines, we have Jason calling in from Holman, Wisconsin. Hi, Jason, you're on the air.
Hello. Good talking to both of you. I got a couple quick questions. Why do the Shias and the Sunnis battle each other so much, and what do the Middle Eastern Muslims think of the Nation of Islam here in America?
Okay,
thank you. First of all, Muhammad told the Muslims there will be 71 denominations among them. One will make it to paradise, and the 70 will go to hell forever. So Shia consider Sunni infidels, and Sunni consider Shia infidels. As for Nation of Islam, for sure they are infidels, for they believe in Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad, Elisha Muhammad, this American black gentleman. And no Muslim in the world with common sense would accept any other prophet but Muhammad, the prophet of Islam.
Thank you for the call here to Winona, Minnesota. And Maria, you're on the air.
I want to thank you so much for having Osama on to expose the Islamic belief. And don't ever buckle down I really appreciate the teachings.
Thank you, sister.
My question, just had a knee replacement done, and I was laying in the hospital, and the nurses were very concerned, would say, are you suicidal? Are you depressed? And I said, no, I feel like I have a vacation here. Even though the pain, I give thanks and everything, And I was thinking, and I asked them, how do the Arab women, if they even get treated for something like that? I'm 75 years old, and I have the privilege of getting a knee replaced and therapy afterwards. Can you tell me how, if they even get the medical treatment?
My dear sister, I have my dog, 8 years old, toy fox terrier. My wife take him to the dentist twice every year. Every time costs $135 just to clean her teeth. A dog. Sadly, I tell you that Muslims in the world do not have the normal rights for life. You'll be happy if your husband beat you lightly. That is not to break your bones, as stated in the teaching of Allah in the Qur'an, chapter 4, verse 34, I believe. So, there is no really, but, there are some wonderful Muslim people in the world, and they are Muslim, they are wonderful, not because they're Muslim. They're wonderful because they have not yet learned the truth about Islam. For the more you know about Islam, the more you'll be broke, crying blood, not tears, for every Muslim females.
So the Muslim females do not have access to medical treatment?
No, not any. I mean, literally, poor people in Egypt, those who go to the hospital, they go with a simple sickness, they leave with bigger one. So I don't know. Knee replacement is not something we heard of in Egypt. It's too expensive to do anyway.
Thanks for the call to Duluth, Minnesota. And Tim, you're on the air.
Good afternoon. I enjoy the program on VCY quite a bit, Osama.
Thank you.
And I do definitely believe you with the teaching of the Qur'an, but my question is, there's over 1 billion Muslims in the world, many of which, of course, are in the United States. Now, I never hear about the honor killings, on my news at night or the national news or anything, so it makes me question, one, does it happen as frequently as thought? Or two, are there so many Muslims that really are very moderate and do not practice some teachings in the Quran?
First of all, thanks for your call. There is no such a thing as moderate Muslim because there is no moderate Islam. We have hundreds of cases in America, but our FBI choose to hide it, put it under the rug. It is the teaching of Allah, the Quran, 6:151, and it's repeated many times throughout the pages of the Quran. And we have cases, very vicious cases, like this Muslim TV station in New Jersey, where a man beheaded his wife because she filed for divorce paper. And sadly, the media choose not to talk about it. And that was 3 years ago. Can you imagine with me if this Muslim man was a Baptist preacher who beheaded his wife in some TV ministry? It will be on the news 24/7 for years. But we hiding everything bad about Islam because of political correctness. We don't want to hurt their feeling. We don't want to hurt their emotion, and that is the destruction of our country.
Well, thank you for the call. We're going to squeeze one last call in. This is from Delavan, and Russell, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hi, I want to thank you for having Usama on. I think he's fantastic. I have a question, and that is, we have a family member who is marrying a Muslim and clearly states that he will not switch religion. And I'm going against the rest of the family because I refuse to attend the wedding and to have anything to do with them. Do you think that's the wise thing to do, the smart thing to do? I think they're also intimidated by his money. And my second question is, Usama, I'd like to have you come speak at our church. I'm going to look on your website. But I wondered, would you ever speak at a mosque? I'm not in support of them, obviously, but to...
No, brother, very simple. Muslim will never have me in a mosque, as I will not, to go to the mosque, you have to be so liberal, far away from the truth that you cannot tell the Muslim you are following a child molester. And I do not go anywhere with political correctness. Number two, for the wedding, I will not attend the wedding myself, and I will speak very loud to her before the wedding will happen that she's making a big mistake. I beg you, contact us, get a DVD, Women in Islam. She needs to watch this video before she marries this Muslim man, because she's going to be sorry for the rest of her life, especially when she marries a rich man.
Thank you for the call here, and we'll give that contact information here again. Usama, you've got a number of resources on your website, many, many different DVDs. You've got these books. You have the English translation of the Qur'an that includes the contradictions and the biblical teaching. Tell us more about your website.
TheStraightWay.org. By the way, we have a new site, web page inside the website, which in it you can watch lots of videos, what's happening recently in America. It's just something we put together the last couple of weeks, and you can get to it. Just write to us, we'll send it to you. We're going to have a small session in our real website to lead you to it, which you will see what is happening in the White House, what's happening in our Pentagon, what's happening in our FBI. Ridiculous. We're destroying our country with the political correctness. So, but thestraightway.org, we have all this material available, DVDs, books, as you said, Brother Jim. Would love to have the opportunity to go speak in churches. So if you call us later on the phone, we'll set this up to come to speak in your church. And we speak in small churches as big churches. It doesn't matter any size of the churches, and our ministry is free of charge. So we'd love to go travel all over the country to speak in different places.
Usama, thank you so much for being with us
Thanks,
today.
Brother Jim. It's my joy to be here today.
Usama Daktak, our guest here today on Crosstalk. And again, folks, the website is thestraightway.org, thestraightway.org. You may also follow up with a phone call to them at 941-223-1703. Resources, materials are there. If you'd like to have them come speak in your church for a series of meetings, contact them for that information as well. Our time is gone. Thanks for joining us today on this open forum on Islam presented on Crosstalk.
You've been listening to Crosstalk via satellite and the internet from VCY America. Views expressed may or may not be those of this station. For a CD of today's program, send a donation of $6 or more to VCY Tape Ministry, 3434 West Kilbourne Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53208. Or download by RSS or podcast from crosstalkamerica.com. And join us again for Crosstalk.